Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lead Her podcast. Today we have hit episode 30. I can't believe it. It's absolutely amazing. And like I've said before, I know some people have done thousands of episodes, but for us this is huge. Like, I would never have seen at the start of this year that I would be on 30 episodes, and it just shows you how each little week adds up and you hit these little milestones along the way. But I also wanted to use this as an opportunity to thank you, every single one of you who listens to the podcast, who shared the podcast, who has laughed along with me when I talk nonsense and tell you all my stories. For you guys who have been very kind to our guests that have been on the podcast, for you guys who have commented on our YouTube videos, sent me private messages. It has honestly been amazing to hear this has helped you guys in some way, or just that you're benefiting from it. Yeah, it's amazing to know that it's having the impact that I would love it to have. So thank you every single one of you who has reached out, because I know you guys are busy. And as a thank you, I want to do a little giveaway today. I want to give you one of the trainings that I've recently done with our Lead Her members, and a little workbook that goes alongside that. I'm a very kind of creative person. I love art, I love drawing, painting, creating, knitting. Like, I love all of that stuff and I don't get to do it enough. So creating this workbook was like very enjoyable for me. So I hope you love it and I hope you benefit from it too. And it's in the description of the podcast. If you just heard there, you get the training and you'll also get the little workbook from the description area. If you can't get it, just message me and I'll send it over to you privately. But the whole training that we've done with Lead Her is very centred around this time of the year. It's kind of taken a little bit away from nature, and I know some of you will be like, well, Leanne, like, nah, this is not my vibe. But please stay with me, because even if you don't get the whole nature thing, this can be a nice way to kind of visualise like what we're looking to kind of do here by relating it to nature a little bit. Like, if we think as humans, we actually are a lot more connected to nature than we realise. Like, if you think of all the animals, they're all gathering food, they're starting to go in and hibernate, they go out less. It's the same with us, we're going out less, our food has changed. We've gone from the salads and the fresh fruit and the citrus fruits and nice light meals, and then we're coming into the winter when it's homely, heavy, dense, warming soups, stews, casseroles, slow cookers out kind of meals. Everything kind of changes through the different seasons of the month, and we're really kind of coming into this now. And even if we kind of look outside, this is where we're kind of getting this visual aspect of working on where we want to be next year through taking nature to help us with that. So if we look at like the trees, for example, like right now the trees are starting to lose their leaves because they're no longer serving them. They're no longer getting any nutrients from these leaves anymore because they're dying. And if they hold on to them, it's going to cause the tree to then die, and it's not receiving anything, and they need to let go of these leaves to bloom next year. It's the same with the flower beds. Like, all these flowers die away to create new growth for next year. And we've got like gardeners who are clearing out their veggie patch, planting stuff for next year, possibly even now, or planting some flowers to kind of come out in spring. So even though like the year starts in January, a lot of the kind of change to prepare ourselves for spring, or to prepare ourselves for next year, is happening now. And this is something that I've been doing over the last few years myself, where I've been kind of like, right, what do I need to kind of start removing from my life right now, because it's not providing me with energy, it's not making me feel good, it's not benefiting me anyway. So how can I start taking the steps now to feel the benefit of it next year, rather than wait until January and then having to do this work and then rebuild? It's like we can start doing some little things right now to start creating like a better future for us going into spring next year. So I'm taking a lot from nature here, and this is what this workbook's got on here. And I know some of you are not people who like to write things down. I know some of you guys are more visual, so I've got a wee visual aspect to it for those people, the creative people. And I've also got some kind of questions that you can start answering to really figure out, like, right, actually, what isn't serving you right now? Like, is it you're pressing snooze and that's making you feel crap? Is it that you've got self-doubt and you just don't believe in yourself? That was one of mine's like 2 years ago. I actually was looking back at my notes from 2 years ago today, and there's stuff I've written down that I'm like, oh my god, like, I remember how heavy that was and how hard it was and how I just couldn't believe in myself. Like, and some of you will be like, what the hell, like, I can't believe you felt like that. But I did. Like, just getting caught in our own head, and there's stuff like you're holding on to right now that's not providing you with energy, it's not making you feel good, and we need to start shredding it. We need to start letting things go so that we can then start to feel the benefit going into next year. But also on top of that, we also want to start planting the seeds for next year as well, right? We want to start putting in the things that we maybe could start doing, or the things that we could change, or the habits that we can bring in, or the actions we can bring in, so that we can start, maybe even if it's just to look after yourself, just giving yourself 2 to 3 things that you're going to do the rest of the year, because you know it's going to benefit you going into January, February, March next year, and you'll be blooming. And it's like, how can we water these seeds? How can we look after you? What are the things that we need to kind of do to shred the leaves, get rid of those, start taking the steps to get rid of those things that we really don't want to do anymore. Get rid of these jobs at work that were like, I want these done and off my plate for January. You can't do that in January because it's already January and you'll be still having all these jobs that you've not done yet. So start shredding away this stuff that is just not serving us. Then we're going to start putting in the things that we know if we do these things, we're going to be blooming next year. Maybe it is just starting a fitness class. Maybe it is getting singing lessons. Maybe it is just signing yourself up for something, even though you might not start it this year, you've signed up for it, and it's thinking like, let's start taking the little baby steps. I know next year is going to be your year and you're ready for it and you're buzzing for it, and you're maybe holding back just now because you're like, I just want to get ready to rock in January. Don't be scared of just doing a few little things right now. It doesn't need to be groundbreaking. It doesn't need to be turning your life upside down. It could just be like, okay, I just want to keep my steps up through winter. I just want to don't press snooze anymore. I want to get up when my alarm goes off. Like, what's a few wee things that you can start planting as seeds? Let's keep practicing them and feeding them and growing them so that then they actually kind of start to sprout next year. Okay, so let's put in some little steps, because the little steps always add up, and you know yourself you're going to be 10 steps forward next year from just doing these little things that make you feel good, or taking these little baby steps towards the big goal that you do want to achieve. Start planting the seeds now and doing the things right now that are going to help you absolutely fly from January onwards, not just starting in January. So head to the podcast description, you'll see a little link there. Head to that link and you'll get a workbook, you'll get a workbook that I've created alongside a little video of me talking you through it, and I'll maybe put in some of my examples, because I know it can be hard. Like, this is something I used to really struggle with in school, is like, we would have to sit down and teacher would be like, write your goals. What do you want to do with your career? And I would honestly be sat there, I don't know if it's a part of my dyslexia or the self-doubt I had back then, or just that I was young. We're only like 17, 18 and we're having to decide our future. But I felt like everyone around me was like this, writing away, writing. And do you know, that way I was like looking at other people's ideas and what they were writing to go, oh, okay, now I know what to write. Or I'd be looking at other people's ideas thinking, oh God, they know so much more than me. So I've never been good at stuff like this. Like, I've always really struggled with it. But each year I have written stuff down, made myself do it. Even when I've looked back to stuff I've written last year, like I've mentioned earlier, I'm like, I'm so happy I wrote that, because I can remember that moment writing that, and that's the things I had to put down on paper to start changing my mindset, to keep myself accountable, to help me take the steps into not being that woman who has a lot of self-doubt last year and the year previous, to really kind of come into my own and being who I want to be and being more confident in myself and having more belief in myself. I would not have got here without doing that hard questions and sitting with it. But I think sometimes when you're young, you were never given ideas. So that's why with the workbook, I'll give you some ideas that I've got. I'll talk you through it in each step, and I just want you to just really be patient with it and give yourself a bit of time. Like, have a bit of fun with it. Just think, no one's going to read this. Like, after you're done, you can rip it up, you can put it in the bin, no one needs to know what you wrote down. But just write down these things that are in your head, because I know you're going to feel 10 times better for it. And even if you're like, Leanne, I'm not a journaler, I don't like doing stuff like this, I've got some visual stuff that you can maybe do and some other tasks that you can maybe do to still get a kind of similar result in some way. So I hope you guys love it. I will stop chatting because we'll chat more on the workbook and on the training. I shall catch you there. I hope you love it. I hope you benefit from it. And if not, if you're not going to download it, even just thinking about yourself right now. What do you need to get rid of right now? What do you need to start letting go of this autumn so that you can start blooming next year? I'd love to hear from you guys if you have related to this, benefited from it, or if you think I'm talking absolute nonsense, because all feedback helps in some way. Have an amazing week. I love you all, and I'll speak to you soon.